The following content is brought to you by MYND Initiative Incorporated. The opinions expressed in the following conversation are of the hosts and do not in any way represent the opinions of MYND Initiative as a whole. Some themes in this series may be distressing or triggering for some listeners, and so viewer discretion is advised. If any of the content does trigger uncomfortable feelings or cause distress, we encourage you to reach out to us via our Facebook page or seek further support from beyondblue.org or contact Lifeline on 13 11 14 for 24/7 over-the-phone support. We would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we all stand, and we extend our respect to the elders, both past and present.
Hi everyone, my name's Jason and this is my friend Bajan, and we have a show called Does It Mess With Your Mind, where we talk about mental health issues and the stigma behind mental health, and we give book reviews and we just talk about lifestyle and everything else that may impact your mental health. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Does It Mess With Your Mind? I'm here with my co-host, Bajan. How are you tonight, Bajan?
Hello there, my man. Fantastic. How are you?
I am not bad. My name is Jason. Tonight, we're going to talk about what's going on inside our heads and when we're not feeling great, how we try to hide it from everyone. Even sometimes when we're feeling gape or when uncertain of the situation, or we might feel like we're judged, we try to put on that persona of something different. And yeah, what an interesting topic. How do you think it's going to go tonight, Bajan?
Oh boy, it's like a very personal topic to me because I've been on this internal journey to find out like why it is that we put on a mask before a society, why we find it like so difficult to express ourselves authentically. And yeah, it's like a very personal journey. I'm definitely going to enjoy this, and I hope you will do the same. As we continue on the talk show, and as questions arise, and we will handle it. Let's see how it goes, man. But I'm like super pumped for this episode.
Cool. So, first things first. How do you self-reflect? How do you sit back and go, okay, this is what happened today. How do I reflect? Did I actually put my authentic self out? Or did I actually come up with I'm Russell Crowe as a gladiator and be a strong man today? How do you take that time out to reflect on what's going on?
Now, this question just took me back to about 3 years ago in 2019 when I first started writing. And as I flick back through the time and look at those notes that I used to write, I just see a load of bullshit in there. It's like, I'm just expressing myself. Yes, I'm doing that, but I'm just bullshitting myself. I'm like, it is a mask even from my own self. And I'll be honest with you, it took me literally until yesterday to understand what it means to express yourself authentically. There's a concept called radical honesty, and it's like being as brutally honest with yourself as you can. I think you may have heard of the quote, you can lie to the whole world, but you can never lie to yourself. And that stands true. No, when it comes to like self-expression, it is not about what you say, what you don't say. It's about what you feel inside you. When you're expressing yourself, is there like that little voice that says, that's bullshit, I'm lying to myself, but I've got to put on a face, I've got to put on a show. If there's that voice, that shred of doubt inside you, then that is inauthentic. Because when you express like fully, authentically, there's like no shred of doubt. All there is in your heart is this calm confidence, that certain knowing that says, yes, this is the truth, and I am ready and willing to accept it. So this is how I personally differentiate between authentic and inauthentic self-expression. I just listen to my heart. I would say, I know it sounds like really cliche to say listen to your heart, but I really do listen to my heart. And if there's something in my heart that's like kind of like blocking my energy, I just like dive deeper into it and try to find out what it is that is blocking my energy, be it by writing. I usually express it through writing, and other people can do it through poems or even singing or even talking to the loved ones, or even just painting, drawing, art, creation, creativity. That is the whole essence of self-expression, in my opinion. What do you think, Jason?
I think you touched on a couple of like really interesting points there. And like what you were saying about listen to your heart is kind of really important, because you have to get into a point in your life that you can actually listen to yourself. So that means not sitting in a busy coffee shop, not having your phone around you, not having that kind of distraction. But at the same time, you kind of said, do art, do writing, do something. And it is about being creative and keeping yourself busy, but it is through working through whatever's working through your inner monologue. So like you're thinking, oh man, I want to paint something black because I feel like something's black. But you're not going to paint yellow if you want to paint something black. And that's a truism. So, if you go and paint something and you paint something totally not what you wanted to paint, then you kind of like, well, why am I doing this? Who am I trying to please? Am I trying to please the right kind of people in my life? Which is what's really standing out in taking that kind of information in. Do you reckon that's a good grasp of what's coming across?
Ooh, you touched a very important, very delicate subject in there. Do I need to impress people? Am I impressing the right kind of people? And yes, and I have a feeling, I'm not certain, I'm not a psychologist or anything. All I'm doing is just expressing what my experience is. And it says that the reason we put on a mask and put on a facade and just bullshit ourselves is because we want to be good enough. But good enough for who? Is it your parents? Is it your teachers? Is it your boss? Is it your wife? Is it your girlfriend? Is it for you? Who do you want to be good enough for? Because as you continue like trying to prove yourself and show the world that you're materially successful, you may become the richest person in the world. You may have all the worldly luxuries with your life, but if yes, you will always find that you are not good enough. But why do we believe that we are not good enough? What is it that makes us believe that we are not good enough? Because the fact is, we are good enough. It's just that through years of living in the society, being conditioned by the society, being told by the society that this is right and this is not right, this is what you should do and this is what you should not do, this is good, this is bad, all of that, those labels crammed into our head, and it just hides away our authentic self. It just hides away the fact that our internal knowledge that we are good enough. And I believe it everybody should go on this internal journey and find out like and peel through all the layers and discover that they really are good enough. I'm good enough. It is not something that you say with your mouth and with your mind. It is something that you feel right in your heart. You are always good enough. But there are reasons. There can be a lot of reasons. There can be experiences we have had, circumstances we have faced that lead us to believing that we are not good enough. What do you think, Jason? Like, what do you think it is that makes us feel like we are not good enough?
Well, what I was kind of thinking about when you were talking about it then was, when we talk about taking the time out to listen to your heart, if you're not actually taking that time out to do what you love, and you're focused solely on what everyone else is telling you to do or what you think everyone else wants you to do, then you can be caught in a bit of a cycle of I'm trying to please everyone, but I'm not actually listening to myself, to what I need to feel love for myself. And when you talk about writing and art and stuff like that, that's the self-expression. That's you putting your love out there, and showing your love for yourself. Like if you're actually doing true art, and you feel like you want to paint a flower, sure, paint a flower. If you want to paint a horse, paint a horse. If you want to paint a unicorn riding a dragon with a naked chick on top, through a starry sky, do that. But whatever you do, paint something that is just full on what you are, and show that love for your creativity and for who you are. Be a blacksmith, create a sword, but do what's coming out of your heart.
Exactly. It's like just follow your heart. Your heart is always, I always say this to my friends, your heart always leads you to where you need to be. It always leads you to that place. Always follow your heart, you'll find it. But what we do because of social conditioning is we paint a picture and then we do not like it. We compare it with someone else's picture. And then we say, I am not good enough. I am a bad artist. I don't know how to draw. I should never draw. And maybe, so to follow the heart, it means to draw a shitty horse, to draw a shitty stickman figure, and still say, this is the most beautiful painting that I have ever seen in my life. Damn, just imagine like when you were like 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, you used to draw a stickman figure and you used to show it to everybody and you used to be proud of it, man. Like, look at this painting, and everybody used to say, wow, you are such a great artist, you're amazing, amazing drawing. And you used to believe that. But what happened? As we grew up, as we continued showing our art, what did we get from the world? Sometimes we got praise. And at one point in our time, someone said, your painting is shit, man, it sucks. It is not good at all. That's when the first layer of the mask began to accumulate itself in you. And then after that, every single time you were rejected, every single time you were told no, every single time you were said you were told you were not good enough, that mask just multiplied. You just keep on building that wall. This is a song by Pink Floyd, Just Another Brick in the Wall. That is what just another brick in the wall means. Every time you get rejected, you just build a brick wall that stops you from seeing that that stops you from seeing who you are, from seeing yourself, and from expressing your honest self, and from following your heart.
One of the things that you're kind of touching at there is like someone told you you're crap, or your horse was crap, or whatever, so it's crap. So I guess two things there is that's their opinion, and that's from their point of view. So don't take it personally because they're criticizing your drawing. But also don't expect to draw a horse on a dragon in a starry night straight up, because it's probably just going to look like shit. But if you go, I want to draw a horse riding a dragon in a starry sky, we'll start off just learning how to draw a starry sky, or a horse, or a dragon. Just pick one, learn how to draw that good, and give yourself time to develop the skills. And as you said there, when you're talking even with your friends about like follow your heart and everything else, sometimes you have bad days. Sometimes things happen in life where your heart just does not want to be creative. But I think out of those kind of little things where you find a little bit of focus, I think creativity leads to opportunities. And I mean that, like when you have a really bad day, but you have a little bit of creative spark, you might go, I've had a bad day, but this part of it was actually really good. So I'm going to focus on that part of the day. And how can I build off that day? Because hey, I had that great conversation with so and so at the water cooler. Tomorrow I'm going to continue that conversation, and it's going to be part of my building my day up or building my relationship with that person. And I'm going to forget about how I got reamed over the coals for not having X report done by 5 p.m. or whatever. It's that kind of stuff, finding that creativity in that bad day. Or it might even be, as you said, writing a story about that bad day, and it turns out you publish it and it turns into some Hollywood movie. Who knows? But it's looking for that opportunity and your creativity to make the most out of what's going on in that point in time. What do you think?
Exactly. And I'll even add to that and say that even when you're having a bad day, why like avoid everything? Why not just learn to accept the bad day? Like it is what it is, man. There's nothing that you can do. You can't change what's happening right now. But what you can do is you just learn to acknowledge it, accept it, and embrace it. Of course, it hurts. The pain is unbearable when you do that. When you're having a bad day and you want to smile, the pain is unbearable. It's really hard. Uh, Maybe even almost impossible. But why not give it a shot? You only got one life, man, and you're gonna die one day. So in the end, if you are not living as yourself, if you are not expressing yourself, if you are not acknowledging, accepting every single aspect of who you are, the good days and the bad days, the good side of you and the bad side of you. We as people, we are like so afraid of our own shadow, of our own dark side, that we just run away from it every single time we encounter it. A sign of a bad day is, the way I see bad days is, a bad day is when I encounter my shadow. If I'm having a bad day, it means I'm encountering my shadow. Rather than run away from that shadow, why not like try to figure out what that shadow is, try to understand what that shadow is, and try to assimilate that shadow into you? Because no matter what you do, the shadow is always going to be with you. If you have a positive side, it will also have a negative side. There's a quote that says, the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. You can't escape it, man. Your shadow, your dark side, your shadow, the bad days, they are always going to be happening in life. It is not how you run away from it. It is how you learn to accept and acknowledge and embrace and then assimilate that shadow into you. That is the work that everybody in the world needs to do, to be, if they are, because if they are to accept themselves, if they are to see themselves as being good enough, then we will have to learn to embrace all our sides, the dark side, the good side, the positive side, the negative side, all the sides of who we are. We gotta fully encompass the entirety of our whole being and then accept it, embrace it, and be happy and be proud of it. Why be afraid of our dark side though?
And when you talk about bad days there, I guess one of the big things that I'm thinking about is you're not the cause of the bad day. The bad day is the bad day.
Yes,
And you
exactly.
still need to be kind to yourself. Like, for instance, last week a tick got on my dog, and unfortunately my dog was put down. Um, Very sad times for me, but I accept that my dog had to die at some time in his life. That's what was going to happen. And I focused on the good times in his life. And, I didn't want to be emotional about it, but I had to be kind to myself and say, hey, this is something big for you. Be kind to yourself, let your emotions out, and then focus on what you want to do. And for me, you talked about that creativity before. It was looking through my old photos and stuff like that and putting a star beside them and going, okay, I want to go back and keep this. I want to put this photo on the wall. I want to have this memory, because in death, celebration comes from that life, that impact on you. um, Writing can be the same. Like that creativity is a form of honoring that person's life energy that was in your life, but it's also about you letting you process your grief. So yeah, like bad days. I mean, we say bad days, but they can be bad weeks, they can be bad months, they can be bad years. Hopefully you don't end up with a bad decade, but hey, you know, stuff happens. Uh, but you've got to find the opportunities. You've got to use your creativity to make opportunities as well. Otherwise, you will get stuck and you won't find pleasure looking in other people giving you approval or pleasure or something like that. You've got to find it in yourself. You've got to take the time out to listen to your heart.
Exactly. It's all about like being as authentic as you can with yourself. You do not need to show the world. You can write whatever you want to write. You do not need to show it to the world. Just you see, you be the witness to what you have written and just embrace that, accept it. You sing whatever you want to sing. You write your own song. You dance your own dance. You paint your own pictures. You draw whatever you want to draw. It's all about like just letting it all out rather than stopping all the energy pent up in you like a big walled dam. Just open the dam up and let the energy flow. Nobody needs to see it, because if the energy is not flowing, that's when we start thinking about having a bad day. That's when we start thinking about this is not good for me. That's when we start reacting to events and circumstances. But if we are dancing with the energy of the world, if we are letting out our energy out and accepting whatever energy the universe is sending towards us, if we learn to dance that dance on the subconscious, on the energetic level, this is where the true joy of life is in. Unless you express yourself, you are not going to be able to dance that dance, and you are going to miss out on this beautiful opportunity to experience life. As I always say, you only live once. Use this, or say one life that you have, that we have, to experience life to the fullest.
And that expression has to be honest, as you said. Like if you're feeling sad, express sad. If that's what
Exactly.
you want to express. And if
Exactly.
you're angry, express anger. Try not to express rage, I guess, because rage is kind of like just letting go. But you want to be with that emotion. You want to be
Exactly.
part of that emotion. You
I'll
want
just
to accept
interrupt you
yourself
here,
there.
because I just wanted to add something in here. Because I'm like a very emotional man. If I want to smile, I'll smile like a wholehearted, open-hearted. And if I want to cry, I will immediately cry. There's like, I do not like just hold my emotions. I just let them out. Because I accept my emotions, man. I have good days. I have bad days. I have like excellent days. I have like terrible days, and I accept it all. And whatever the energy is coming to me, I just express it. I express it out. If I want to be angry, I'll be pissed off. I'll be angry. If I want to be sad, I will be sad. If I want to cry, I will cry. This is like uh, I do not block my energy from flowing out. It doesn't matter what kind of energy it is. I just let it flow out anymore. And yeah, just like you were touching on that, like if you want to be angry, just be angry. It's completely okay to be angry, but just make sure that you know where that anger is directed towards. Your anger should never be directed towards other people or you. It's just anger, just let it out to the world. Just, it's like really hard to explain how to let out anger without like directing it anywhere, because it's something that you learn and acquire over a lifetime, and it takes consistent practice, and that begins with self-expression.
Yeah, it's about self-regulation. Like as you said then, like you let your anger out, you let your sadness out. But if you were angry for 3 or 4 weeks straight, probably go and see a GP, because you're not self-regulating, you're not coming back to what your normalness is. Same as if you're sad for a particularly long time, go and see a GP, go and talk about what you're feeling and why you're feeling it. because you have a natural baseline that you get all of your different emotions, where if one particular emotion is wreaking havoc on on all the others, like you're sad to the point where you can't be angry, you just feel sad, yeah, go out and talk to someone about it, because that could be indicating that something else is going wrong in your life. Did you know that they've done over 200 studies on the positive effects of like art and writing and all that kind of stuff? They know that it gives a positive effect to people, right? But they don't know what the positive effect is. They can't quantify it in the brain, how it works, why it gives a positive effect and all that kind of stuff. They've done lots of studies on this kind of stuff, but we still need to work out what's actually happening in the brain to make it work for us, how it re-regulates and balances our emotions. What do you think about that? Because you talk about it being a journey of self-discovery. It's not like you were taught it in school or you found it somewhere. You had to come across it on your own.
Here's the interesting thing. First, I did not know about that research, but when it comes to like how I got into this journey of self-discovery, it's that no matter how much you scratch, it just doesn't go away. It's like something that you need to like continue doing it. And I'll be frank, until 2017, I did not have that itch. I was just living like an automaton, and just go to uni, go to work, come back home and repeat the same cycle over and over again. I did not have that itch. It's something that you develop over time. And how do you develop the itch of self-expression? And it's by starting to question the most basic of the things. Why do I need to do things the way I'm told to do? Is there any alternative? Why is that alternative not accepted? And sometimes there are like excellent reasons for not doing an alternative, but more often than not, these are just traditions passed down from thousands of years ago, and we've just like those traditions have remained, but the society has changed drastically in that time. How human knowledge has improved drastically in that time, and those traditions, they have not been able to update themselves based on where we are right now. So the itch of self-expression, it begins by asking questions, asking like, why are things the way they are? Why is it not something else? Why am I the way I am? Okay, let's just say that I believe I'm ugly, but why do I believe that I'm ugly? What is it that I believe that makes me think that I'm ugly? Or maybe I even think that I'm not good enough. Why do I believe that I'm not good enough? And frankly, I struggled with those two questions for a long, long time, longer than I care to admit, but I really struggled with those questions. And when I first started answering those questions, digging through those questions, the journey was excruciating. It was painful. It was like taking your own heart out and then stabbing it 1,000 times with a red hot knife. It's excruciating, but this is what we need if we are to destroy that brick wall that we have raised in front of ourselves and express ourselves. This is how you get that initial itch. Like you begin to question why you are the way you are, and how can you be the way you want to be? Because you can be whoever you want to be, but do you really believe that? Does your heart really believe it? That's what matters. And for your heart to believe it, it has to see itself. It has to know that it exists. For many people, we don't even know our heart exists. We know that there is an organ that's pumping blood, but we do not know that it speaks, it whispers, it calls, it gives us directions, it tells us where we need to go. We have like lost touch with that primal source of energy. And
too
how do
in
you
touch with the mind and not enough being in touch with the heart.
exactly? It's when you use the word mind, I usually mean it to say our thoughts. Because let's just say I see a beautiful girl out there, and I immediately begin thinking, damn, she's absolutely beautiful, but she must have a boyfriend. Why would she like me? I don't even know her. What do I say to her? What if I mess up? What if she rejects me? Like a million questions begin to churn in my thoughts. And that's the vortex that we get stuck in like forever, round and round and round and round. That's just an example. And there are hundreds of situations every day that we face that just churns that vortex of thoughts in us. And why does that happen? It's because we do not see our heart. Because the day we begin to see our own heart, the day we begin to listen to our heart, that's the day that we stop listening to the vortex of thoughts. And how do you listen to the heart? It comes back again to self-expression. And how do you start expressing yourself honestly? It comes back again to starting that to finding that initial itch that you can't scratch. And how do you find that itch? You begin to question yourself, like, why am I the way I am? Why am I not the way I want to be? That's the starting point that I can offer.
Right. Well, I think we will wind it up for tonight. Any final thoughts?
Nah, man, that's all. I just wanted to let that out of my system, and I'm like so happy to have had this opportunity to do so. And as always, I love your questions.
That's awesome. One thing that was said to me was like, today we're in a meeting and they said like, oh, we do all this so that way people can walk in your shoes. And I turned around and said, no, I don't do anything so that way people can walk in my shoes. I don't want anyone walking in my shoes. I do this to empower people to walk in their own shoes. And I feel like tonight, that's what we have done. We're not empowering you guys out there to walk in our shoes, to believe in our philosophies and everything else, but we're passing on our knowledge so that way you can walk in your own shoes. And if you got a little bit stuck in the snow, use some of this kind of thoughts to think about what's going on, some creativity, or if you're feeling sad for too long, to go out to the doctor and talk to someone, but you feel it in your heart. You stop and listen to your heart. And that's
Boom,
my
that's it.
final
Yeah,
thought.
exactly. Yeah, that's like very well summarized. It's because it's a universal journey that everybody has to take, but at the same time, it is also an individual journey. The path that I took to arrive to where I am right now, if I like describe that path to other people, it won't work for other people. You have to find your own path. It's like it's an individual path that you go discover. It's like an adventure. You go out in a hiking trail, and you are the first person discovering that hiking trail. And where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Do you search for a path that is already there, or do you like try to figure out what your own path? I suggest, then that's what I did. I tried to figure out my own path. Of course, there are like hundreds of thousands of books telling you this is how you do it, this is how you do that. But will that work for you? It may or may not. You can give it a shot. If it doesn't work for you, you know what to do. Find your own path. It's all about like self-discovery. Self-discovery leads to self-expression. It is your own path, your own individual path.
I hope everyone has enjoyed tonight's episode. Thank you, Pajan. That has been awesome. If for any reason this has been triggering for you, or you feel like you need to talk to someone, make sure you reach out to Lifeline. I think we put at the start. You talk to your GP, talk to your friends, your family, someone that you trust. But please watch our next episode. Leave us some comments. We want you here for a long time. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely time.